The rain hammered the grimy windows of my Brooklyn walk-up like it was trying to drown out the lie hanging in the air. Ethan stood there, duffel bag slung over his shoulder, his green eyes, those damn eyes that could unravel me with a glance, locked on the floor as if it held the script for his escape. "This isn't working, Alex," he said, voice cracking like thunder, but we both knew it was the closest he'd come to admitting he was terrified of how well it was. I'd lost count of the times we'd danced this waltz, him bolting for the door, me chasing shadows in the empty apartment afterward, wondering if love was just a bad habit we couldn't kick. Ethan Harper, the guy who'd sworn off hearts after his ex shattered his in some small-town Michigan scandal, had crashed into my life 2 years ago at a dingy coffee shop in Williamsburg. I was nursing a black coffee and a fresh bruise from my own failed Tinder date when he slid into the booth across from me, mistaking me for his blind date. "You're not Jake," he'd said, but instead of leaving, he stayed, spinning tales of his graphic design gigs and his aversion to anything that smelled like commitment. That night, we talked until the barista kicked us out, and by dawn, I was hooked on the way he laughed, like it was a secret he only shared with the stars. Now, as the storm raged outside, I stepped closer, close enough to smell the faint citrus of his shampoo mixed with the damp wool of his coat. "Ethan, you say that every time, but you always come back." My words hung there, raw and accusing, because part of me hated how right I was. He dropped the bag, fingers trembling as they brushed my arm, and in that touch, I felt the pull, the invisible thread that kept yanking him toward me, no matter how hard he fought it. Our story wasn't one of those fairy tale meet-cuties. It was forged in the grit of New York, where dreams collided with reality on subway platforms and overpriced brunches. I worked as a junior editor at a midtown publishing house, wrangling manuscripts from aspiring authors who dreamed bigger than their talent allowed. Ethan freelanced logos for startups that promised to change the world but folded after 6 months. We bonded over the hustle, late nights hunched over laptops, takeout containers piling up like unspoken regrets. My best friend, Mia, a fiery lesbian with a pixie cut and a law degree she wielded like a shield, had warned me about him from the start. "He's got walls higher than the Empire State, Alex. You'll thank me when you don't get crushed." But I did get crushed, in the best and worst ways. Our first real date wasn't a date at all. It was a group hang at the Abbey, a queer bar in Chelsea where rainbow flags fluttered like battle standards. Mia dragged me there to get back out there, after my last breakup, and Ethan showed up with his roommate, Theo, a non-binary artist who painted murals of fractured hearts. The 4 of us claimed a corner booth, shots of tequila blurring the edges of small talk. Ethan sat across from me, his knee brushing mine under the table, accidental at first, then deliberate. By midnight, we were swaying to an indie remix of an old Madonna track, his hand on the small of my back, whispering jokes about the drag queen emceeing the night. That spark ignited something reckless in me. A week later, I invited him to my sister's birthday party in Queens, a sprawling Italian affair with Nana's lasagna and cousins who asked too many questions about my roommate. Ethan arrived in a button-down that hugged his lean frame just right, carrying a bottle of Chianti like an olive branch. My family eyed him warily, Mom with her Catholic guilt, Dad with his golf club conservatism, but he charmed them effortlessly, telling stories of designing album covers for up-and-coming bands. Later, as fireworks cracked over the East River, he pulled me aside on the fire escape. "Your family's intense," he murmured, breath warm against my ear. "But you're easy to be around." I leaned in, heart pounding like a bass drop. Our lips met soft and tentative, tasting of red wine and possibility. It was the kind of kiss that lingered, promising more than either of us was ready to give. But Ethan pulled back first. I shadowed. "I don't do this, Alex. Love's not in my cards." Even then, I saw the lie in the way his fingers lingered on my jaw. As summer bled into fall, we fell into a rhythm that felt dangerously like a relationship. Mornings at my place turned into lazy brunches at Sarabeth's, where he'd sketch on napkins while I read him passages from my latest edit. We'd wander the High Line, hands brushing but never holding, talking about everything and nothing. His dream of exhibiting his digital art in Soho, my fear that I'd peaked at 28. Mia became our unofficial chaperone, hosting game nights where she'd grill Ethan about his intentions over rounds of Cards Against Humanity. "Spill it, Harper," she'd say, smirking. "What's the deal with the hot and cold act?" He'd deflect with a grin, but alone, he'd open up in fragments. Growing up in rural Michigan, Ethan had been the golden boy, quarterback, valedictorian, the kid everyone pinned their hopes on. Then came prom night, when his best friend, drunk and desperate, kissed him behind the bleachers. It spiraled, rumors, beatings, his parents shipping him to a pray the gay away camp that left scars deeper than skin. "Love's a trap," he'd say, voice flat. "It makes you weak, gets you broken." I'd listen, aching to fix what I couldn't, offering my own baggage in return. The high school bully who outed me to my entire town, the college boyfriend who ghosted after I came out to my folks. Yet, despite his warnings, he chose me. A gallery opening in the village? He'd show up in a velvet jacket, arm linked with mine. My promotion party at the office? He'd surprise me with a custom illustration of us as superheroes, capes billowing over the Manhattan skyline. Each choice chipped at his armor, revealing glimpses of the man who craved connection as fiercely as he feared it. But cracks formed early. Theo, ever the intuitive one, pulled me aside one night at a poetry slam in the East Village. "He's falling hard, Alex. But he's gonna run when it gets real." I brushed it off, but doubt festered. Then came Thanksgiving, when Ethan's phone buzzed with a call from his mother. Clipped words about family expectations and that phase you're going through. He vanished for 2 days, radio silent, only to reappear at my door with takeout and apologies. "I can't drag you into my mess," he said, but stayed anyway, curling into me on the couch until dawn. Winter hit like a freight train, blanketing the city in snow and secrets. We celebrated Hanukkah at Mia's with her girlfriend, Lena, a soft-spoken therapist who saw through everyone's bullshit. Over lax, Ethan admitted he'd started therapy, unpacking the Michigan ghosts one session at a time. "It's terrifying," he confessed later, as we walked home through Central Park, flakes catching in his lashes. "But you're worth it." My heart swelled, and for the first time, I believed him. Little did I know, the real storm was brewing, not from weather, but from the people who loved us most. The first real fracture came in January, when Mia threw her annual Queer New Year reset party at her loft in Bushwick. It was the kind of bash that started with charcuterie and ended with strangers slow dancing to Lana Del Rey. Ethan and I arrived fashionably late, him in a shearling jacket that made his eyes pop, me clutching a bottle of Prosecco like a lifeline. The room buzzed with our crowd, artists, activists, the barista from our coffee spot who'd just come out as trans. Laughter echoed off exposed brick walls, fairy lights twinkling like distant stars. We mingled, Ethan's hand occasionally grazing my lower back, a subtle claim that sent warmth pooling in my chest. Theo cornered us by the makeshift bar, slinging mocktails with a wink. "You two look disgustingly domestic," they teased, clinking glasses. Ethan flushed, but his smile was genuine, the kind that reached his eyes. For a moment, it felt invincible, like we'd cracked the code to his fears. Then she walked in, Rebecca, Ethan's ex from Michigan, all sharp cheekbones and sharper wit, trailing an entourage of out-of-town friends like a comet's tail. I'd heard the stories, how she'd been his high school sweetheart, the beard that hid his truth until it all imploded in a haze of accusations and small-town scorn. Seeing her there, laughing too loud, stirred something primal in me. Not jealousy, exactly, but a fear that she'd unravel everything we'd built. Ethan froze mid-sip, color draining from his face. "What the hell is she doing here?" he muttered, but before I could respond, she spotted us, weaving through the crowd like a heat-seeking missile. "Ethan Harper, as I live and breathe," she drawled, voice honeyed with barbs. Her eyes flicked to me, appraising. "And this must be the New York upgrade." The air thickened, conversations dipping around us. Ethan stiffened, forcing a smile that didn't touch his eyes. "Becky, didn't expect you in Brooklyn." She air-kissed his cheeks, lingering a beat too long, then turned to me with a hand extended. "Rebecca Klein, Ethan's old flame. We go way back. Prom king and queen, remember?" Her laugh was brittle, laced with the residue of old wounds. I shook her hand, polite but guarded. "Alex Rivera. Nice to meet you." Inside, my mind raced. Was this a setup? Mia, oblivious at first, swooped in with hugs, but her eyes narrowed when she clocked the tension. "Everything good?" she whispered to me, but Ethan was already retreating, mumbling about needing air. He slipped out to the fire escape, and I followed, the party noise fading behind us. Snow dusted the metal stairs, the city a glittering sprawl below. He leaned on the railing, breath fogging the night. "She wasn't invited," he said finally. "Theo must have connected with someone who knows her circle. God, Alex, it's like a nightmare crashing the dream." I wrapped my arms around him from behind, chin on his shoulder. "Talk to me. What happened with her, really?" He'd skimmed the surface before. Betrayal, lies, but now, under the sodium glow of streetlights, it poured out. Rebecca had known about his kiss with his friend, used it as leverage to out him to his parents when he tried to end things. "She called it mercy," he said, voice hollow. "Said I was confused, that love would fix me. But it just destroyed us both." Rage simmered in me, hot and helpless. "She's poison. You don't know her shit." He turned, cupping my face, thumbs tracing my cheekbones. "I know, but seeing her, it drags it all back. The fear that I'll ruin you the same way." Our kiss was fierce then, a reclaiming, snowflakes melting on our skin. Back inside, Rebecca had cornered Mia, spinning a tale of Ethan's instability, how he'd always run from real relationships. Mia shut her down hard. Sounds like projection to me. But the seed was planted, whispers rippling through the room. By night's end, Ethan and I left early, hailing a cab in the biting cold. Curled against him in the back seat, I thought we'd weathered it. But the next morning, my phone lit up with texts from mutual friends, screenshots of Rebecca's Instagram story, a cryptic post about old flames burning brightest in the city that never sleeps, tagged with the party's geotag. Ethan saw it too, jaw clenching over coffee. "Ignore it," I urged, but doubt crept in like fog off the harbor. Weeks blurred into a tense routine. Ethan threw himself into a big client pitch, a rebrand for a queer-owned bookstore in the West Village, pouring late nights into mood boards that bled his soul onto the screen. I'd bring him ramen from the corner spot, watching him work, marveling at how his vulnerability fueled his art. One evening, as pixels danced across his laptop, he paused, turning to me. "I want to show you something." It was a series of illustrations, us, stylized as silhouettes against iconic NYC backdrops. The Brooklyn Bridge at dusk, a subway car hurtling through tunnels, each frame capturing a stolen moment, a quiet choice. "It's us," he said softly. The story I'm too scared to tell out loud. Tears pricked my eyes. This was his way of saying he was all in, walls be damned. We made love that night, not the frantic kind, but slow, reverent, bodies mapping forgiveness in the dark. Afterward, tangled in sheets, he whispered, "I choose you, Alex. Every damn day. But choices have consequences." Mia called a summit brunch at our favorite spot in Park Slope, the one with the killer avocado toast and bottomless mimosas. Lena joined, her therapist calm a bomb against the brewing storm. "Rebecca's stirring shit," Mia said bluntly, sliding her phone across the table. More posts, veiled jabs at fragile boys playing house. Ethan arrived late, rumpled from a deadline, and the mood soured fast. "She's trying to isolate you," Mia pressed. "From us, from him. We need a united front." He bristled, fork stabbing his eggs. "I don't need protecting. I can handle my past." But his voice wavered, and I saw the old reflex kicking in. Retreat, rebuild the fortress. Lena leaned in gently. "Handling it alone is what got you here, Ethan. Let us in." The table fell silent, mimosas forgotten. For the first time, he didn't bolt. Instead, he reached for my hand under the table, squeezing like a lifeline. That vulnerability sparked a shift. We started couples counseling with Lena, awkward at first, me rambling about my control issues, him dissecting Michigan's ghosts. Sessions unearthed layers. My fear of abandonment rooted in Dad's emotional distance, his terror of love tied to that camp's cures that left him questioning his worth. Progress was incremental, like thawing ice, but it bonded us deeper. Spring teased the city with cherry blossoms along the FDR Drive, and we took weekend escapes to the Hamptons, courtesy of Mia's firm connections. Lazy days on dunes, nights debating philosophy over bonfires. Yet, prejudice lurked in subtler forms. At a family dinner for my cousin's engagement, catered chaos in Astoria, my uncle pulled me aside, beer breath heavy. "That friend of yours, Alex. He's nice, but you know how those types are. Unstable." I bit back fury, citing Ethan's successes, but the words festered. Ethan overheard later, from the kitchen where he was charming Nana with falafel recipes. "It's okay," he lied, but that night he packed a bag. "Just needs space to think." He was gone 3 days, crashing at Theo's, text sparse, processing. I paced my apartment, calling Mia in tears. "He's choosing fear over us." She arrived with ice cream and tough love. Or maybe he's choosing growth. Give him room. When he returned, hollow-eyed but resolute, he didn't apologize with words. Instead, he hung the illustrations in our living room, a gallery of us. "I almost ran for good," he admitted. "But I couldn't. Not from you." Summer sweltered in, and with it, a high-weed chase until it burned. July's heat wave turned Manhattan into a pressure cooker, mirroring the tension coiling in our lives. Ethan's bookstore rebrand launched to rave reviews. Billboards in Chelsea Market featuring his swirling fonts and pride flag motifs. The opening party was a whirlwind. Champagne flutes clinking, influencers snapping pics, Mia toasting to love that redesigns the heart. Ethan shone, arm around my waist as we posed for photos, his pride palpable. "This is what choosing feels like," he murmured, lips brushing my temple. But euphoria is fragile. 2 weeks later, an email from his mother arrived, forwarded through his old college account, which he'd forgotten to scrub. "Ethan, your father and I saw the article. We're worried. That lifestyle. It's not you. Come home, son. We can fix this." Attached, a brochure for another conversion retreat, glossy lies promising healing. He showed it to me over dinner at our go-to-Thai spot in the East Village. Pad CEU, congealing untouched. "They think I'm broken," he said, voice a whisper shout. "That you're the symptom." I wanted to smash something, his parents' denial, the world's cruelty, but held him instead, across the sticky table. "You're not broken. You're mine." We left early, walking the humid streets until we found refuge in Tompkins Square Park, sprawled on a blanket under dogwood trees. There, he grieved aloud. The boy he'd been, buried under expectations. The man he was becoming, clawing free. "I choose you over them," he vowed, but the words tasted like ash. The fallout rippled. He blocked their numbers, but ghosts don't die easy. Sleepless nights bled into arguments. Me pushing for confrontation, him retreating into work. Mia mediated over rooftop BBQs, her grill master skills a distraction from the dread. "Family's a bitch," she said, flipping veggie burgers. "But blood doesn't define you." "We do," Theo nodded, adding murals to our walls. Abstract swirls of color, symbolizing fractured pasts mending. Then came the misunderstanding that nearly ended us. In August, I got headhunted for a senior editor gig at a bigger house in LA. 6 figures, creative freedom, the dream. I told Ethan over gelato in Little Italy, expecting celebration. Instead, panic flashed in his eyes. "You're leaving?" The words hung, accusatory. "No, it's remote friendly. We could make it work." But doubt seeded fast. That night, he scrolled job listings for graphic design in California, just in case. The case exploded at Lena's office, our session derailed by accusations. "You're planning an out," he yelled, tears streaking. "Admit it. You see my baggage and want escape." I reeled, hurt twisting into anger. "I'm fighting for us. You're the one who runs." Lena intervened, but damage was done. He stormed out, crashing at Theo's again. Days stretched into a chasm, texts unanswered, my apartment echoing with absence. Mia staged an intervention at her place, Lena facilitating. "Miscommunications kill more loves than malice," she said. We dissected it, his fear of abandonment projecting onto my opportunity, my frustration masking insecurity. Theo shared their own story, coming out to conservative parents, losing a sibling to silence. "Choice isn't easy," they said, "but it's yours." Ethan arrived last, hollow-cheeked, clutching a sketchpad. Inside, pages of what-ifs, us in LA, Brooklyn, anywhere, each ending with intertwined hands. "I'm sorry," he choked. "I thought losing you would hurt less than being left." We rebuilt slowly, weekly choice dates, where we'd affirm one deliberate act of love. A picnic in Prospect Park, him reading poetry aloud, a midnight screening of Brokeback Mountain at an indie theater, tissues shared in the dark. Fall foliage painted the city gold, mirroring our tentative thaw. But surprises lurked. In October, Rebecca resurfaced, not with venom, but vulnerability. A DM to Ethan. Heard about the launch. Proud of you. Can we talk? No drama. Skeptical, he agreed to coffee at a neutral spot in Midtown, me waiting across the street like a paranoid PI. She arrived subdued, no entourage, ordering herbal tea. I was wrong, she said, per Ethan's relayed account later. Hurt people hurt people. Therapy's kicking my ass. Thought I'd apologize before I chicken out. It wasn't absolution, but closure. Ethan returned lighter, recounting it over pizza in bed. She chose growth. Maybe I can forgive. That night, we danced in the living room to Nina Simone, bodies sinking like puzzle pieces. Love felt possible again, tangible, not a specter. Yet, prejudices persisted. My parents' Thanksgiving invitation arrived with a PS. Bring a friend, but keep it light. Translation, no PDA, no agenda. Ethan opted out, citing deadlines. But I went, stealing for the Inquisition. Over turkey, Dad cornered me in the den. Son, we love you. But that boy's troubled. Therapy? Past drama? You deserve stable. I defended fiercely. He's more stable than your golf buddies. But left drained, calling Ethan from the LIRR. They don't get it, I vented. He listened, then said, then we make our own family. Winter's chill brought holidays laced with hope. Hanukkah at Mia and Lena's evolved into tradition. Sufganiate, storytelling circles where we shared wins and wounds. Ethan lit the menorah, voice steady as he recounted choosing art over silence. New Year's Eve, we watched the ball drop from a friend's rooftop in Tribeca, his hand in mine as confetti rained. To us, he toasted. The choice that sticks. But fate loves a twist. In January, a letter arrived from Ethan's father, postmarked Michigan. Not condemnation, but a halting olive branch. Saw your work online. It's beautiful. Your mother and I, we're trying. Coffee sometime. Ethan stared at it for hours, then burned a copy in our sink, flames dancing like demons. Not yet, he decided. I'm choosing me first. Spring bloomed with promise, but summer's heat would test if choices endured fire. The second summer scorched the asphalt, turning air conditioners into lifelines and tempers into tinder. Ethan's career surged, a solo exhibit at a NoHo gallery, fractured choices, blending digital glitches with hand-drawn vulnerability. Invites poured in. We prepped amid paint fumes and takeout, excitement buzzing like fireflies. Opening night loomed, a milestone he'd earned through grit. But 2 weeks prior, crisis struck. Theo called at dawn, voice fractured. It's Ethan. He collapsed at the studio. Hospital. My world tilted. I raced to Mount Sinai, dodging traffic like a madman, Mia tailing in her Prius. In the ER, Ethan lay pale under fluorescence, for dripping, doctors murmuring exhaustion-induced panic attack. He'd pushed too hard, sleepless nights, skipped meals, his body rebelling against the mental load. Seeing him there, vulnerable and veined with tubes, cracked me open. You scared me, I whispered, holding his hand as monitors beeped. He managed a weak smile. Chasing perfection. Stupid. Mia arrived, fierce as ever, corralling nurses for details. Lena visited later, prescribing rest and reflection. This is your body's way of saying slow down, she said. We discharged him to my place, turning recovery into ritual. Soups simmered on the stove, walks in Riverside Park where he'd sketch birds instead of deadlines. The exhibit adapted, curators flexible, Theo stepping in to finalize installs. Opening night, Ethan arrived transformed, suit tailored sharp, eyes bright with reclaimed fire. The space thrummed, critics sipping Pinot, flashes popping as patrons absorbed his pieces, canvases of binary code dissolving into rainbows, titles like The Loop I Can't Break. He spoke briefly, voice steady. These are choices, the ones that hurt, heal, haunt. The crowd applauded. A collector snapped up half the show. At the after-party in a speakeasy basement, euphoria reigned. Rebecca even showed. Invited by Theo, boundaries clear, offering a genuine toast. To breaking cycles. Ethan nodded, closure sealing old wounds. We slipped away early, hailing a cab to the roof of our building, city sprawl a carpet of lights. I almost lost this, he said, pulling me close. But I chose fight. Our kiss tasted of champagne and survival, stars winking approval. Yet, idols invite intrusion. My LA offer resurfaced. Bosses sweetening with a hybrid setup, visits mandatory. I accepted, torn between ambition and roots. Telling Ethan over brunch at Balthazar, croissants flaking like doubts, I braced. It's good for us, more stability. He paused, fork midway. But distance. It amplifies fears. We talked it through, mapping visits, virtual dates, but unease lingered like humidity. August brought the storm, a heat wave coinciding with pride. We marched with Mia's contingent, banners high, chants echoing down Fifth Avenue. Joy surged, drag queens on floats, allies in rainbow face paint. But midway, a counter-protester shoved through, spewing slurs, sick freaks ruining America. He targeted Ethan, mistaking his quiet for weakness. Go back to your grooming cult. Chaos erupted, security swarmed, but the venom stuck. Ethan paled, grip vice-tied on my arm. We ducked into a side street, breaths ragged. Why does it still hit like this? He gasped, sliding down a wall. I knelt, shielding him from prying eyes. Because assholes exist. But we're here, together. Mia found us, fury blazing. She filed a report, turning pain into action. That night, at a debrief over ice cream in Harlem, Theo shared stories of street harassment, normalizing the scar. Choice is showing up anyway, they said. Ethan nodded, resolve hardening. But the real conflict brewed at home. My first LA trip loomed, a week of meetings, and Ethan's exhibit buzz drew freelance offers, tempting relocation. Over dinner at Gramercy Tavern, candles flickering, it boiled over. What if we both chase dreams and lose each other? He asked, stake untouched. I reached across. Then we choose harder. But words rang hollow. He left for Theo's again, needing headspace. The separation stretched 4 days, longest yet. I flew to LA amid heartache, palm trees mocking my isolation. Meetings blurred, pitches on Queer Lit, lunches with execs who loved my vibe. Nights, I'd FaceTime him, glimpses of Brooklyn through his lens. Miss your chaos, he'd say, but shadows haunted his smiles. Mia texted updates. He's painting like a demon. It's raw. Back in NYC, reconciliation waited. I surprised him at the studio, takeout Thai, playlist of our songs. He looked up, paint smeared, eyes softening. You came back. We unpacked it all. Fears of drift, the pride wound reopening old prejudices. I choose us over solo glory, I vowed. He pulled out a new piece, a diptych of airports and bridges, figures reaching across divides. Me too. Fall whispered change, leaves turning, air crisping. We navigated the hybrid life. My quarterly LA stints balanced by Ethan's visits, turning miles into memories. Thanksgiving shifted paradigms. We hosted our found family feast at Mia's, inviting Theo, Lena, even Rebecca for a trial run. Laughter filled the loft, turkey carved, stories swapped. Ethan's father called mid-meal, voice gruff, heard you're hosting. Sounds nice. Maybe next year. Baby steps, but progress. Winter holidays glowed warmer. Christmas Eve, we strung lights on a Charlie Brown tree in my apartment, ornaments from thrift shops telling our tale. To choices that stick, he toasted with eggnog. New Year's found us at Times Square, freezing, festive, watching the ball drop, his I love you lost in cheers but etched in my soul. Yet, spring unearthed buried tensions. A package arrived, from Ethan's mother, a scrapbook of his childhood, football trophies, family photos, a note. Remember who you are. Innocuous? Or manipulation? He pored over it, turmoil brewing. They want the old Ethan back. I burned it with him in the park, ashes scattering like shed skin. This is you now. Summer circled back, heat rising with unspoken stakes. The gallery offered Ethan a residency, 6 months in Berlin, career-making. He agonized, weighing art against anchor. What if choice means letting go? Over rooftop sunsets, we debated, hearts heavy. Mia advised, love's not possession. It's release with trust. Theo echoed. Go if it calls. We'll hold the fort. Decision day dawned stormy. He chose Berlin, but with a caveat. 6 months, then home to you. Tears mixed with joy. Airport goodbyes were gut-wrenching, his flight vanishing into clouds. Letters, actual paper, bridged the gap. Mine verbose, his sketched vignettes of cobblestones and cafes. Video calls crackled with longing, but growth bloomed, me thriving in LA's sun, him exhibiting in galleries that hummed with history. Return flight landed in JFK turbulence, mirroring my nerves. He emerged, portfolio in hand, eyes seeking mine. Chose you, he said simply, collapsing into embrace. But surprises awaited. A pregnancy announcement from Lena and Mia, surrogacy dreams realized, sparking our talks of future families, prejudices be damned. Yet, the deepest conflict loomed, rooted in blood and bone. Autumn's palette painted Central Park in fire, but our world smoldered with unresolved embers. Ethan's Berlin triumph, sold-out show, reviews in The Guardian, catapulted him to rising star status, agencies clamoring. Back in Brooklyn, he rode the wave, but jet lag masked deeper unrest. The scrapbook incident festered. A follow-up email from his parents arrived. We're booking tickets to NYC. Time to talk family. Panic etched his face over morning coffee. What if they demand I choose them over this life? I set down my mug, steadying his hands. You set the terms. We're in this. Mia rallied the troops, Lena prepping scripts for boundaries, Theo designing welcome cards laced with sass. The visit landed like a nor'easter. His parents at JFK, stiff in khakis and pearls, scanning for threats. We met at a neutral diner in Midtown, booths sticky, coffee bitter. Ethan's mom, Linda, clutched her purse like a shield. Dad, Harlan, grunted hellos. Small talk skated surfaces. Weather, Ethan's hobby, turned career. Then the pivot. Son, we've prayed. Seen counselors. This phase. It's hurt us all. Ethan's fork clattered. It's not a phase, Dad. It's me. Harlan's jaw worked. Bible says. Enough. Ethan cut in, voice steel. You chose silence when I needed you. Now I choose my truth. Linda teared up. We love you. Just come home. The word home twisted like a knife. Michigan's fields versus Brooklyn's pulse. I squeezed his knee under the table, silent sentinel. Harlan eyed me. And him? Dragging you into sin. Rage flared, but Ethan spoke first. Alex saved me. From the dark you ignored. The diner hushed. A waitress pretended to refill waters. Harlan deflated. We failed you. Not apology, but fracture. They left after pie. Hugs awkward. Promises vague. Think on it. Ethan collapsed against me in the cab. I chose us. But it hurts. Healing was jagged. Therapy intensified. Lena unpacked generational trauma. Harlan's own repressed bisexuality, buried in 70s stoicism. Ethan wrote letters, unsent, pouring forgiveness and fury. We leaned on friends. Mia's barbecues devolving into therapy circles. Theo's art jams channeling pain into pigment. Winter deepened divides elsewhere. My LA commute strained. Delays, deadlines clashing with Ethan's deadlines. A missed anniversary dinner. Me stuck in traffic, him solo at per se. Ignited texts turned tirade. You're choosing work over us, he fired. Back home, we aired it. My ambition masking fear of stagnation, his clinginess born of loss. We're both scared, I admitted. But choosing means adapting. Reconciliation flowered in small acts. Surprise tickets to a Jets game, his guilty pleasure. Me learning basic German from his Berlinese souvenirs. Spring thawed the chill. Cherry blossoms framed proposals. Not marriage, but commitment. A shared lease on a bigger place in Greenpoint. Walls for his studio, shelves for my books. But misunderstanding struck like lightning. At a launch party for my edited queer memoir, sold out at McNally Jackson, Rebecca cornered Ethan amid signings. He's glowing, she said, nodding at me across the room. You did that. Flirtation? No, genuine. But Mia, overhearing, misconstrued, texting me mid-event, your ex is poaching. I confronted him later, jealousy irrational. Is she wired distant? He recoiled. After everything? You're choosing doubt over trust. The fight spilled into streets, rain slicking our shouts. Your insecurities are the real threat, he yelled. I stormed off, crashing at Mia's, regret gnawing. She mediated dawn coffee. Prejudice isn't just external. We carry it inward. Lena facilitated a session. We dissected projections, my past ghosts haunting his loyalty. He arrived with flowers, daisies, his peace offering. I choose belief in you. Summer sizzled with renewal. Pride 2.0, we let afloat. Ethan DJing anthems. Counter-protesters drowned in cheers. His parents sent a card, pride-themed, tentative, proud of your courage. Progress, pixel by pixel. Then the high-stakes surprise. A film scout approached Ethan at his next exhibit, optioning fractured choices for indie adaptation. Queer romance with edge, they pitched. Auditions loomed. Actors reading our lines, fictionalized. It's us, he said, thrilled, terrified. I supported, but unease stirred. Exposure meant scrutiny, prejudices amplified on screen. Casting calls in LA pulled me in. We road-tripped, turning auditions into adventures. Hikes in Runyon Canyon, tacos in Boyle Heights. One actor nailed Ethan's essence, brooding charm, green-eyed intensity, sparking irrational pangs. What if Hollywood steals you? I joked. He laughed it off, but seeds sprouted. Back east, conflict crested. Harlan called. Saw the exhibit online. Inspired me to talk. Turns out your uncle's like you. Family secret. Bombshell, generational queerness, hidden. Ethan flew solo to Michigan, confrontation cathartic. Return tales over bonfire in the Catskills. They chose acceptance. Finally, tears cleansed. We made esmores, plotting futures. Yet, climax brewed in betrayal shadow. During a LA Scout meeting, I confided work stress to an exec, off-record venting about balancing queer life. It leaked, tabloid blurb twisting words into editor doubts, gay romance boom. Backlash hit, trolls online, Ethan's feed flooded with fraud accusations. He confronted me at JFK, eyes storm dark. You chose gossip over privacy? Hurt doubled. It was twisted. I defended us. But trust fractured. He retreated to Theo's. I drowned in apologies. Mia uncovered the leak. XX agenda, pushing controversy for buzz. Evidence in hand, we stormed Lena's. Raw session, accusations flying then folding into empathy. We choose forgiveness, he said finally, hand extended. Resolution rippled. The film greenlit. With us as consultants, story tweaked to honor truths. Parents visited again. Dinner at our new place. Harlan toasting to choices we all make. Prejudices softened, not erased. Fall waned. Winter beckoned with quiet strength. We'd chosen, over and over, love's messy grace. The film's pre-production whirlwind swept us into a vortex of script reads and location scouts. New York's familiar chaos, now scripted backdrop. Ethan consulted from Brooklyn, me splitting time with LA, our video calls a tether amid the frenzy. It's surreal, he'd say, pacing his studio. Our pain, polished for screens. I nodded from hotel rooms, heart aching for home. Choices felt abstract, career pulls versus couple dom. But we anchored with rituals, mailed sketches, shared playlists titled Us, Unbroken. Thanksgiving tested resolve. Mia and Lena's surrogate milestone, first ultrasound, drew us to a cozy reveal in Park Slope. Pink and blue balloons bobbed. We toasted to growing families. Ethan's parents joined remotely via Zoom. Linda misty-eyed. A grandbaby? Miracles. Harlan added gruffly. Proud of you both. Virtual, but visceral, bridges mending. Yet, tension simmered. A script draft arrived. Ethan's character arc veering, tragic redemption. Prejudices amplified for drama. It's not us, he fumed over phone. They chose exploitation over truth. I advocated in meetings, pushing rewrites, but execs balked. Edge sells. Conflict peaked during a holiday table read in LA. Actors emoting our fights, laughs punctuating pain. Ethan flew out, face thunderous post-scene. This mocks our choices. Backstage blowout. You're enabling it, he accused. Choosing fame over fidelity. I fired back. I'm fighting for integrity. Words wounded. He booked a red-eye home. Silence deafening. Mia mediated texts. Breathe. It's fear talking. Alone in the hotel, I pored over old journals, entries of his returns, our hooks. Choice meant persistence. Reunion at JFK, him waiting, sign scrawled, choose me, like a rom-com prop. We laughed through tears, cab ride dissolving into confessions. I chose wrong words, he admitted. Scared of losing control. Rewrites followed. Our input heated, arc balanced with hope. Winter solstice brought serendipity. Theo proposed to their partner, a quiet ceremony in the village, snow-dusted vows. We stood witness, rings exchanged under garlands. Ethan's toast, to choices that echo. Inspiration struck. Post-wedding, he sketched wedding scenes. Not ours yet. Someday, he murmured later, curled in bed. When we're ready. Spring unfurled with film's principal photography. NYC stands doubling for our city. We visited set. Extras marching faux pride. Director yelling action. Surreal therapy. Prejudices portrayed, then subverted. A scene shoot. Our kiss recreated. Drew catcalls from crew. Execs chuckling. Ethan tensed. I squeezed his hand. They chose ignorance. We choose power. Climax crested unexpectedly. During a rap party at the Standard, Rebecca approached, sober 2 years, glowing. Auditioned for a role. Didn't get it, but closure's freeing. She hugged us, no shadows. You too? Endgame. Later, Harlan texted, tickets booked. Want to meet the grandson? Ethan's reply, yes. On our terms. But the true high-tension hook yanked midsummer. A leaked set photo. Us advising, captioned real-life muses spill tea. Trolls erupted. Token diversity higher. Faking trauma for clout. Ethan's exhibit canceled last minute. Venue caving to controversy. Devastation hit. He spiraled, studio dark. Choices backfire. He whispered, packing shadows. I quit LA remote. Full NYC return, job be damned. Rallied friends. Mia lawyered threats. Theo viral campaign support. Lena held space. We protested the cancellation. Queer artists picketing, media swarming. Harlan called. Saw the news. Standing with you, son. Public choice. Vulnerability as weapon. Resolution dawned in fragments. Venue reinstated. Backlash boomerang. Film premiered at Tribeca. Standing ovation. Our story resonating. Post-screening Q&A. Ethan spoke. This isn't tragedy. It's triumph. Choosing love amid storms. Tears flowed. I beamed from the crowd. Fall harvest reaped growth. Parents visited proper, dinner at ours. Harlan sharing his uncle tales. Linda baking Michigan pies. Awkward laughs bridged gaps. Choices mutual. Mia's baby arrived. Tiny Theo lookalike. Namesake nod. We cooed. Aunt uncles in training. Winter closed the circle. New Year's, rooftop again. Ball dropping. His proposal simple. Ring box under stars. Choose forever. Not grand, but us. Yes, I breathed. Vows whispered. Against prejudices, through misunderstandings, in love's unyielding loop. He'd said love wasn't for him, yet chose me, over and over. And in that choosing, we found home. As the credits rolled on our premiere night, applause thundered like catharsis long denied. Ethan gripped my hand in the dim theater, knuckles white, then releasing into a squeeze of shared victory. Backstage, hugs from cast, the actor who'd embodied him pulling him into a bro hug. You made this real. Mia hooped, baby in a rainbow sling, Lena snapping candids. Even Rebecca texted congrats, a full circle grace. Post-party haze led to dawn walks along the Hudson, fog lifting like veils. We did it, he said, breath clouding. Chose the light. I nodded, tracing his palm lines, storyteller's hands, lover's touch. Months layered like snow. Exhibit revival drew crowds. Harlan attending incognito, whispering beautiful, son. We planned wedding, small, Brooklyn Botanic Gardens, friends officiating. Vows wove our tapestry. I choose your shadows, your sun, your fears, your fire. In quiet moments, coffee sunrises, park benches, he'd murmur, love snuck up, but I'm glad it chose us. And I, forever the narrator, knew. Our drama, gay and gnarled, bloomed into epic, full of heart, hard won.